My name is Kara Smithwick, and I'm the instructor for this class. We are going to explore how we manage this emotional toll of these unprecedented times that we're living in. There's a lot of political unrest and uncertainty, and I'm guessing that's why you are here. There's a couple of you from South Africa, so it never hurts to have resilience, and we might need your assistance when we move there. Just kidding. We're going to work on the emotional toll of this moment, find resilience, and then start generating some ideas of how to take meaningful action and push back against this administration. I am Kara Smithwick. As I said, I co-founded a nonprofit with a friend and a colleague, and I was the executive director for 12 years. And as the years went on, the years felt longer. Finished my last day in January of last year. And later, after I started to calm down and use a lot of these skills regularly, I realized that I was really burned out. After I left the nonprofit, I basically quit my life. I sold my house in South Carolina and sold most of our belongings and moved my children and I up to Western North Carolina. I learned lots of skills as we did our, DIY nonprofit, building a plane while flying. So some of the skills I still had with social media. So I started doing that when I landed in Western North Carolina. In June, I arrived where I am now, which is in Polk County, a small rural county of just 20,000 residents in Western North Carolina. When I arrived here and started integrating into the community, I learned that networking, especially in-person networking, is very key to having a business here. So as I was having good progress and meeting people and making some acquaintances, we were hit by Hurricane Helene. So at that point, late September, I was selling social media and people were trying to find a place to live or salvage paintings to sell or any of the horrible things that you saw on TV times 100. And people were really stressed, as they should have been. And so at that time, I started writing a workbook to kind of help people process through that and find some resilience techniques. But life eventually got going, and I put the workbook on hold. Fast forward to the election and the election consequence where people were calling me distraught, crying, what do we do? Started a nonprofit because there was a need, so I felt like there was another need. That's how I respond. Let me figure out what resources I can get to people. So I picked up this workbook called Resilience and Resistance and finished it. I like to describe myself as part hippie, part punk rocker, and so I think this workbook reflects that. It's the resilience and the resistance, which are both interconnected. So based on that workbook, I've developed other tools and workshops like this one. Today, we're going to look at reflection, practical tools that you can use, and action. Somebody have a question? The goal is not to fix everything, but it's to find the next right thing that keeps us grounded and moving forward. And first, we're going to look at really the emotional impact of our current reality. I titled This Isn't Us with kind of US, but it is actually what's going us right now. It shouldn't be us, is probably the better way for me to describe this. What we're witnessing is not normal. It's the deliberate dismantling of rights, protections, and norms. Recognizing that helps us honor our emotional responses and then take those responses and transform them into actions. So, what's one word that describes how you're feeling about this political climate? You can type that into the chat. What else is a word that is going on right now? Disruptive, absolutely. Doomed. I'm going to add mean-spirited. Yeah, so what's going on is not great, and I'm guessing that's why you guys are here. Anger, absolutely. It is, whoa. And that anger is usually based on fear. Yeah, so we'll get more into that. Political stress is real. It shows up in our bodies, in our minds, and in our relationships. So emotionally, it can feel like anxiety, anger, grief, or a sense of hopelessness. Physically, you might notice fatigue, headaches, muscle tension, or trouble sleeping. Behaviorally, it may show up as withdrawing from others, doom scrolling, irritability, or struggle to focus. Want to see where you guys are and play the TikTok hold up 10 fingers game? And you don't have, you can turn your window on it. I mean, your camera on if you'd like, but you know, hold up 10 fingers and put a finger down if you felt any anxiety. Put a finger down if you felt anger. Put a finger down if you felt grief. Put a finger down if you felt numbness. Put a finger down if you felt fatigued. I know, like, I'm gonna run out of fingers. There's only 10. Put a finger down if you've had headaches.
No headaches.
Yeah, same. Put a finger down if you've had insomnia.
Yeah,
Put a finger down if you've experienced withdrawal.
yeah,
Put a finger down if you've been doom scrolling on your phone. And put a feeling down if you've been irritable.
yeah. Okay.
So how many? I see John had one left. John had nine. How many fingers did you have down? Nine. Three down. Christina, you got some good skills. I think I had five down, but I've been practicing these skills for longer. If you're experiencing any of these symptoms, you're not broken. You're having a very normal response to an abnormal and distressing political reality. So, understanding that is the first step towards building resilience. The next step is to learn ways to self soothe and calm your nervous system. So that is what we're going to do next. So if you're trying to multitask, which I might sometimes be want to do, if you're trying to multitask, put it down. Put your stuff down and be present with me, because part of this is about grounding techniques. And these are ones that you can use anytime and any way where the folks in Washington want you to be anxious. They want you to be frazzled. They want you to stay emotionally overwhelmed. So this is a tech that I'm gonna give you two techniques today to not let them win, because you cannot continue doing anything well or doing the good work that has to be done right now if you're frazzled, if you're upset and anxious all the time, and you're going to burn out and then be not good for anybody. I know that personally. Grounding techniques in general are good for helping to ground ourselves, which just means like affix ourselves to the present in order to stop worrying about the future. Now, I clinically have anxiety and ADHD, so I know what it's like for my brain to go, go, go and worry. And I still do that. It's not like I have stopped that, but I know that looking into the future may or may not happen. And so that worry, and we may realize that more horrible things are going to happen, but I can't worry about that until it happens. And so one of the things is when my worry gets too big is I have a grounding technique. When I do the most when I'm at my worst is this picture that's on the screen. I will go outside and stand in sunshine with my bare feet on the ground. And that's two good practices. These are like bonus practice. Having sunshine hit you for 5 minutes is an amazing way to reset your nervous system. Putting your feet in sand or soil or even the grass is a great way to connect, and it helps take out some of that nervous energy. It's interesting, but the future is going to happen, but you can't change it unless you are calm. So put your stuff down if you were doing something else, and we're going to first start with a breathing technique. And I'm going to walk you through, and we're going to do about 3 to 4 rotations of this. So this one is 4, 7, 8. So we're going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale through your mouth for 8. And so I'm going to count you through that. All right, you can close your eyes if that feels comfortable. You're going to inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath for 7 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And exhale slowly through your mouth for 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, let's inhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath for 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And exhale slowly through your mouth for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale for 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more inhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And exhale slowly for 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. How's that? I hope folks are feeling a little bit more. That's, do that as much as you can. I've used a breathing technique to lower my blood pressure at the nurse's office. I've physically have seen how the breath techniques can recenter you and calm down your heart. The point is to get in the present and think about the present only right now to stop that worry spiral. Okay, the next grounding technique is called the 5-4-3-2-1 sensory reset, and it uses the five senses to help bring focus to your immediate surroundings, again, stopping that doom spiral of worry and anxiety and anger even. All right, so we're going to take a couple breaths in, deep breaths in and out. And let's do that one more time. In and out. All right, so the first thing I want you to do is to look around and find 5 things you can see. And don't just pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but look at something and look at the details. Look at it specifically, because we were trying to refocus our attention on something in the present, again, to retrain our minds to calm. Okay, so after you found 5 things to look at, identify 4 things you can touch. And that might even be on your shirt, like the smoothness of a fabric, or I've got goosebumps right now, so I'm feeling those. Remember to really pay attention and focus on what you choose or feel or see so that you can focus on the present. Next, I want you to focus on 3 things you can hear. Try to pay attention to sounds of things that you may not normally notice. And then we'll move into 2 things you can smell. If you don't have anything right near you, I know Leslie has the smoke outside. Lordy. You can move around, like find a candle, find some essential oils, find a perfume, find a piece of food. I've got my coffee here. Oh, mangoes, yum. Okay, and then one thing that you can taste. If there's not something, you should have emergency chocolate somewhere. But if you don't, think about something you will get. Gotti is having a mango for her afternoon snack. So that's filling all kinds of things. Just the mindfulness of eating a mango could be just centering of just really how it feels. How was that exercise?
Good.
I also teach a 4-week course that will have more grounding techniques. At the very end, I'll give you a way to check that out if you are interested. All right, another step in resilience is finding community. Authoritarianism counts on us to be isolated. It needs us to be isolated. Having a community, finding community isn't just nice. It's a form of resistance. In rural areas, especially, finding just 1 or 2 allies can totally transform your resilience. And I personally have decided that it's going to be a big nationwide community that is filled with protest and strikes, like work strikes, that actually saves America and not the politicians. I'm very displeased with the Democrat politicians right now and feel like as my friend said, the cavalry is us. So having a community, being in a community is incredibly important. So who's in your circle? Who can you text or lean on when it gets heavy? I created a Facebook group just for these workshops. It's what I strive to do, like my purpose in life. I think my why for doing everything is community and building community. And so that's my part of resistance is doing some education and doing so I was going to try to drop the link. Canvas being weird. Here it is. It's a Facebook group. It's just resilience and resistance. Forcing focus. I like that comment, Gaddy. That's right. You are taking charge of your brain. That's what focus. That's the forcing focus. No, it's not anybody else. This Facebook group is not. There's no catch to join in. I'm not going to send sales calls or anything, but it's my way of creating communities. That's basically what I love to do in all areas of my life. All right, on the handout I sent you, if you have it and you want to do it, if not, jot it down or stick it in your phone. And let's take 2 minutes to map out your current support system. Who are 1 to 2 people you trust? What local or online spaces feel safe? And where could you build new support? And if you are alone or frustrated, could quite possibly be this resilience and resistance Facebook group that I just created, and you're welcome to put that down. So I'm going to give you about 2 minutes and write who are 1 to 2 people you trust, what local or online spaces feel safe, and where could you build new support. Helen says her children and her apartment manager are 2 people. Would anybody else like to share some of the people or some online? Christina says my boyfriend and my mom, YouTube, community college. Helen, the bank website to explain. Daughters and friends says my bestie, neighbor, and cousins. Family, friends, and occupied Democrats. All right, well, there's more support out there. It's my intention for the Facebook group to really focus on supporting each other with resilience techniques, with resistance techniques, and then, as I say a little bit later, like sharing your wins, like what great things happened. What did you do? Let's talk about that and cheer each other on, because if you're isolated, if you don't have an incredible lot of support, then it makes a difference. And let's build a community. Talk to neighbors, absolutely. I do not talk to my neighbors here in this rural red Republican county. I do, but
that's what makes it very difficult.
It does. We've got a good, strong Democrat party here with good people. All right. So don't worry if you have a small map that you just created. Start where you are and grow. Action is an antidote to despair. Action is an antidote to most things. If you have despair, anxiety, hopelessness, do something. That is it. Sometimes it's harder than it seems, but action is a form of care, and it reminds us that we aren't powerless. This is something that isn't always included in conversations about activism and resilience, and that's joy. And it seems almost like incredulous that I'm even mentioning joy after, well, all of these horrible things are happening. But joy seems like a luxury right now, but it's actually essential. It sustains us. If you're constantly in survival mode, you're going to burn out. But joy, authentic everyday joy, is what keeps us coming back for the work. And it helps us remember, helps remind us that we're human. Oppressive systems don't want control just over the laws and the resources, they want control over our spirits. When we choose joy, when we celebrate, when we laugh, when we love boldly, we interrupt that control. We say, you don't get to steal this from us. I even say shove it in their face, which kind of contradicts the niceness that surrounds joy. I want to have a good time and I'm going to put that stuff on Facebook because I want people to know that they're not going to beat me. But joy also builds community. Think about the power of shared laughter, music, meals, art. These experiences really connect us and create safe spaces and give us something to fight for, not just against. So fight for your community, fight for a relief group that you're working with, not just against all the things that are happening in the world. And joy also sparks creativity. Calling our congressmen, members of Congress is important, but that's not what's going to happen. That's not what is going to change the world right now or change the nation. We're going to have to come up with new and different things to do to participate in this resistance and really imagine a different and one that's rooted in hope and joy and belief that something better is possible. So resisting could look like marching or organizing, but it could also look like planting a garden or sharing a meal or dancing in your kitchen, making art, or singing at the top of your lungs, or standing out in the grass and feeling good. They're not distractions. They're actually part of the movement because thriving in the face of oppression is what we have to do right now. Let me check the chat. Gaddy, I'm going to put the recording on YouTube and I'll send you a link because I have your email addresses. So yeah, you'll have a copy of that. And Helen says you have to choose to be happy. I think that's a next slide, but like our brains are like historically wired be upset, like to the fight or flight, to protect ourselves from being hunted by others. And that's been the default, even though that doesn't really serve us anymore. And so being resilient, being self-care, and doing actions of a little bit later, I'll tell you about small wins, keeping a gratitude journal, like these things are that help you rewire how your neurons in your brain react. And so the more times that you can think about it, I leave Post-it notes all over the place to help me remember to do a grounding technique or stop and journal or meditate so that I can keep rewiring my brain. So my first response is not, which is what they want us to do and the way that we are designed. Now we're going to talk about resistance. There's no right way to resist. Your actions matter, whether you organize a protest or bake muffins for a mutual aid drive. You cannot keep up with everything. It's impossible. I would choose one or two issues, and the slide says what's breaking your heart right now. Pick one or two issues that are most important to you. Is it Ukraine? Is it transgender rights? Is dissolving the ADA protections that just happened? Destroying the Department of Ed? RFK's brainworm? Sorry to be silly, but sometimes we need comedy. What is the issue that's breaking your heart right now? I'll put that in the chart. What's bothering me the most is transgender rights attack, immigration. Oh my gosh, yes. So Young, you focus on immigration. You cannot do every single thing. So focus on getting information about immigration and make steps forward and volunteer. Do some sort of resistance around there because you cannot scream about everything. Absolutely, women in pro-choice. Yep, school shootings, anti-Semitism. Yep, Department of Education, that's killing me. Special education. I taught deaf and hard of hearing children for 20 years. It's devastating me what's going to happen for them. Abortion access and healthcare and trans rights. Barb says, she sent a message to me, cutting the food and the aid to the poor. Oh my God, yeah. So all of these are like, I'm feeling a little anxiety about all of that, but I know that I cannot do every single one. And so I'm going to reach out when I see more attacks on transgender rights or this Department of Ed. I've made flyers that I am disseminating for people to print and put into their community centers or their town halls, because there has to be some issues that connect us with people who are not progressive Democrats. The folks who voted for the administration or didn't vote, they need to get vocal. They need to join us. And so that's one of the things that I'm doing for the Department of Ed. One of the most common things I hear when people are talking about getting involved is I don't know what to do. I'm not an activist. But the truth is resistance takes many forms, and we've talked about some of those. And there's no right way to contribute. And it's not just protest or petitions. It might be a spreadsheet. It might be offering childcare while people are going to a meeting. It may be cooking food for a nonprofit nearby who's fighting for trans rights. It might be writing letters or writing op-eds. It might be listening to somebody who's had a rough day and just being there for them. It might be organizing or designing something. You could be calling, driving, sharing stories, or just showing up. So there's tons of ways. So think about your skills and then how they could be applied. Like maybe you're a good communicator. You could help write newsletters or manage social media. Yes, Scotty. Men given the upper hand in employment. Yes, that happens. We're reverting right back to that here. Maybe you're a caretaker. Could you provide support to someone who's on the front lines? Maybe you're a connector. Can you bring people together or introduce someone to a resource they need? And remember, resistance and being involved does not have to be time all consuming. Remember burnout. Remember your grounding techniques. Remember that any action you do is more than has been done in the past. Small actions matter. And being consistent. If you have an hour a week, do something. Show up. If some of you have an idea of an action you can do this week, I'm going to share my Department of Ed, stop the Department of Ed from being dismantled flyers in a lot of online political forums. I'm going to write that one down. All right. Y'all can keep thinking or respond to when you have something. Here's some more ideas on how to start resisting. So look through some of these because I'm going to ask you to, make a plan for this week. Ways to start resisting. Stay informed. Make sure you follow trusted, diverse news sources and local organizations. I basically read Associated Press and The Guardian. That's it. Speak up. Challenge harmful language and misinformation. That's especially true for marginalized folks in the way that they're treated in public. Speak up for them. Speak up with them. Support marginalized voices. Share their work, amplify their work, and fund their work to help people who are directly impacted. Use your skills. Offer what you're good at. Design, cooking, administration, listening. Anything you have, you can find a way to plug it in and help. And again, if you join the Facebook community, we can help you come up with ideas. If you're stuck, like, what can I do? Make sure you vote local, research the elections locally. That's super important. Show up. If there's a community meeting or a rally or a town hall or a volunteer event, show up. That is a great form of resistance. Make sure you practice self-care and community care. This is going to be a marathon. So you got to take care of yourself and share this with others so that they can take care of themselves. And maybe your role might be helping others learn grounding techniques that you learned today to help them also regulate their nervous system, which is needed for the long haul. You could create space by hosting a gathering of like a book club or a support group. I'd like to do some like art and craft activism. I'd like to do a group here. I don't know if that is interested in you, Leslie, since you were around the corner.
Yeah.
I love art. And so being able to do something that I can use in activism is great. Take control of your dollars. Redirect them to ethical businesses and organizations that align with your values. And start small. Stay consistent Even one action a week builds power over time. Take it from me, burnout helps no one. To be effective, you also have to care for yourself. Rest is not a retreat, it's preparation for what's next. Rest is the new normal. My book club is getting ready to read The New Happy, which really talks about disconnecting yourself from the rat race. And I think a lot of that is included with rest. I haven't started it yet. I will before Sunday. A lot of the workshop today, we talked about actions and thoughts that originate in your mind. And that's intentional because, again, like I said a little bit ago, our mindset decides if we'll succeed or fail. If you are thinking worry, things are going to keep happening that you notice and they're going to make you worried. If you're thinking, let me find the positive things in this, you're going to keep looking and identifying the positive things. We are creatures wired to find the bad in a situation. We default to danger and fear. When you are finding joy, grounding yourself, connecting with community, you begin to rewire your thinking. Another way to work on your mindset is to celebrate small wins. And I actually have a list in my phone and in my book, my notebook that I carry around of small wins, because that's another way of looking at things when you're feeling overwhelmed. Go back and look at your small wins. And it could be if you went to bed last night and didn't doom scroll, yay, write that down. Or make sure that you notice it. If you went to an organizing meeting, yay. If you stood up for a marginalized person in a store, yay, write that down. Finding those and noticing them. And I'm even going to say write them down because that helps, like, you go back and look and just like, look at all the things that happen. I think finding small wins is very similar to a gratitude practice. And when you are grateful for things and you start noticing blessings or, being grateful, your mind starts switching so that you notice more things to be grateful for. And that's the same way with small wins. Look at all the things that I did today when I just thought today was awful. But yet it wasn't. Thanks, Caddy. Attending this session is a win. So informative. Thank you very much. All right. So I will give you a few minutes to write down your personal resilience plan. So you're going to write down or type in your phone one self-care practice, one action or resistance step that you're going to do, and one person or resource that helps you stay grounded. And I can be an accountability partner or anything in that Facebook group. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to write that down. Anybody want to share some of the things that you're going to do? You can turn on your mic if you want to.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, hey.
Yeah. The self-care part first. I've decided that I will be taking myself for massage treats every month. The activism goal I started in January, assist people in the neighboring township, parents with kids with disabilities. I assist them to afford those learners an opportunity to be registered into the special schools.
Yeah.
Because in South Africa, the learner with disability is also, the Constitution allows and encourages that they do also have the right to education. Obviously, the special needs kind of education. And the one resource person that I lean on is my personal coach. Anna is my personal coach, and that's the person I lean on for my mentoring and everything because I run my own independent company.
Nice. I'd love to learn more about that. Seems like our special education disability rights are getting trampled, to say it easily.
It's about it.
Thank you. Helen says, eat healthy, right, Congressman and Senator. Gonna lean on my fiance and Jesus. Barb says, become more involved in my church's social outreach programs. Yeah, these are great things. Build community and find ways to do resistance. Kind of my 4-step thing, which is really like 2 resilience and 2 resistance, is to soothe yourself, calm your nervous system, find joy, show it in their face. That's not nice, but that's my punk rocker coming out. And then find community and do acts of resistance. And if those are the things that, those 4 steps, I think will keep you from getting burned out and keep you doing something where you've been a part of this community and this resistance. Thanks for showing up today. You aren't alone. You are very powerful. You're part of something larger than this movement and larger than this moment, and being part of the larger movement. So let's keep going together. I'd love for you to answer this question in the chat, and then I will put the Facebook group in the chat again if you're interested in that. So what are you taking away with you from this session? Love all your answers. Thank you. And Barb wrote to me that she doesn't necessarily attend rallies or protests, and that's okay. And I know she is wanting to get involved in her church, and it might just be standing up for the way that Jesus calls us to love each other instead of what's going on in politics, and just standing up for your beliefs is a huge way to be an activist. But as Christina says, it doesn't mean you ignore what you need. There's the airline thing where put your air oxygen mask on first and then help, or pour your glass first so that you can have your cup full to help other people. It's important to make sure that you're taken care of and you have a way to make a dent. If we're all making dents into this authoritarianism regime that's going on, then we'll be able to, that's a lot of dents. The thing's going to crash. So whatever you do, just one small step. I'm not asking you to form a protest or write a newsletter. If that's your strong point and that's something that you're interested in, then please, but it's not a requirement. There's so many different ways to resist and take action.